Right behind me are two new pressure washers from Ryobi for 2026, and these are available at your local Home Depot. So in today's video, we're gonna try and give some clarification and see which one is the better choice for you. Right here, we have the Ryobi 2100 PSI 1.2 GPM unit. This unit is coming in at a price tag of $199. Alternatively, we also have the 1800 PSI 1.2 GPM unit coming in at a price tag of $99. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about, again, the price, the included accessories, the overall build quality, what your needs are to see which one is the best fit for you. Now, before we get into this, guys, I wanna let you know, neither of these get the numbers that they list. However, both of them, I think, are good bang for your buck regardless. So whichever one you get, you should be happy with it, but stay tuned for the rest of the video so you can find out all the numbers. So on paper, the main difference between these two units, other than design, is the 2100 PSI rating and the 1800 PSI rating. So I'm going to be using my digital PSI gauge attached to the end of the pressure washer so we know exactly what the usable PSI is out of these units. Because if this one comes in true at 18 and this one doesn't reach the 2100, then that $100 difference is gonna tighten up even more, along with the accessories. Like I said, the 2100 does have some really cool build features. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these both open, get them set up, and then we'll look at them side by side. All right, guys, so I just got both of these things set up, so we're gonna go one by one. We're gonna start off with the 2100 PSI, and there are some discrepancies from what's on the box versus what's here in real life. So I just wanna walk through that real quickly with you. Now, as I go over this, I just wanna make a special note is on the box, there is some discrepancies, but on the actual listing on Ryobi's website and on Home Depot's website, everything is accurate. But here's what we're gonna talk about. First off, if you look here at the extension lance, that is all stainless steel, which I was very excited to see because that's an elevated component for these pressure washers. However, on the actual unit, still brass, okay? Not a big deal to me at all, but the stainless steel would have been nice. Now, additionally, when we look over here, includes the gun, right, with an extension lance. Then we go down, you get the green hose, which is a 25-foot hose on this unit. On the 1800, it comes with a 20-foot hose, so you do get 5 more feet. And then on the nozzles, it shows a turbo nozzle and a white nozzle, which would be a 40-degree fan, meaning a nice wide fan, which I would have liked. However, in real life, this thing comes with the turbo nozzle and a 15-degree nozzle, so much narrower. Again, that's great for working around the house. I do agree with that, actually, because you're gonna get more concentrated power as opposed to having whatever PSI is coming out of the nozzle. It's only gonna dissipate by that much versus being spread out across that whole thing. So you're gonna get more impact with the 15-degree nozzle. The turbo nozzle, if you're not familiar with what that is, it's basically a 0-degree nozzle. So if you can see in there, there's just one little pinhole, okay? And it moves around. And what that does is create a little cone effect. So you're getting the benefit and the pin power of a just 0-degree nozzle, but you're getting a fan because it oscillates and shakes around. So that is great. Now with that said, we're just gonna go ahead and look over the rest of the unit and I'll show you the highlighted features of this thing. So you have your telescoping handle right here. So you just press the button, it telescopes up. Really, really nice. Now I am 6 foot 2 inches and I'm able to reach that and have it walk around no problem. It's actually quite nice. Again, push the button, compresses back down. When you install this thing, you actually just stick it down into the body of the unit, and then you do need to use some screws that they include to lock it into place, and you're good to go. So again, you have your nozzle storage right on top, enough for 2 spots. We have this little guy here where you're able to press down and pull. There you go. And here is your little foam blaster. Now this is, again, this one is an elevated version of the one that compared to what the 1800 comes with. Is the 5 feet extra hose and this version of the foam blaster worth $100? No, but then when we start adding in the fact of the telescoping handle, if you want it to be able to move around real easily, and then also the nice, it's a hard rubber kind of feeling, or hard plastic, but it is textured. It feels kind of softer. It's nice. They're nice wheels, and they're probably, I don't know, 5-inch wheels maybe, something like that. Really, really nice, actually. These wheels, I think they did a good job with. You have your push button start on the top as well. It's just a single push, turns it on, single push, turns it off. It is all sealed to be nice and waterproof. Now we come around to the gun. Again, this one is slightly elevated compared to the one on the 1800, but both pretty generic, pretty simple. So the connection point on this one is an M22 threaded piece. So this silver extension portion screws into the body and seals up quite nicely. On the 1800, it's a little different. We'll talk about that in a second. You also get nice storage for the handle, as you can see there. just sits in nicely. And then on the back here, you have this little cubby where you can stick your cord. This should be a 35-foot power cord with the GFCI right here, so it's all water resistant and all good to go. And then you can also stick your hose. This again is a 25-foot with an M22 by 14 connection. I love that Ryobi uses the M22 by 14 because if you want to upgrade your hose, it makes it very, very easy. Most hoses are going to come with the M22 by 14 connection, so no adapters needed. You can screw it on, or you can get quick connects, which I do highly recommend because it makes everything so much easier for setup. And most of the quick connects out there are M22 by 14 as well. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what an M22 is, that is this style connection right here. So an M22 is where it has this outer threading and it also has this interior piece with an O-ring on it. So this sits down, the receiving end has a hole, fits into it with the O-ring so it seals it up nicely, and then you're able to screw it down over that and keeps everything really, really secure. So I like that a lot. Now, as far as the quality of the hose goes, as you can see, there's some memory to it. It's not terrible. Again, at this price point, anything 200 and below, this is what you'd expect out of the pressure washer hose. So we're gonna check the flexibility and bam. You see that? No good. I hate that. It makes it really cumbersome trying to wind it back up. But again, even while you're using it, right? A little stiff there and then it kinks again. What that kink is to me is now a failure point in the hose potentially, right? It's creating a pressure point there. As the hose pressurizes, this could have failures, okay? So that is the 25-foot hose that it comes with. Would I recommend upgrading your hose? Yeah, I would. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Because this one, again, 25 feet, better than 20 feet that the 1800 comes with? Yeah, it is. It's still not enough in my personal opinion. We're working either around the house, you're doing your driveway and things, you want more than 25 feet. And then especially if you're working on your cars, you need more than 25 to get all the way around it. Now really quickly, here is my favorite hose. This is actually from my brand Quiver that you can see back there. This is the Quiver Flex hose. Now I worked with a company called ProPulse. They are the manufacturer of the Uber Flex hose that you can get on Amazon. And that hose, it's really nice. It's blue and it has the M22 by 14 connection, so it'll plug right into this. Mine is a little bit different. I use their hose construction. I did it in black. I also have a 5/16 variant in a nice teal colorway that you can see on the hose reel back there. But if you look at the hose, this is why I partnered with them. It's an absolute noodle. And it is not kinking in any way, right? Now I can get it to roll over on itself. I'm gonna pinch it all the way over. So it does technically roll over on itself, but as it comes back, the memory goes away. So there's no kink in the line anymore, right? So there's no failure point. It has more flexibility where it just expands back out to where it was. The difference between the Uberflex hose and my Quiverflex hose though, is that I integrate stainless steel quick connects into it already. So all you have to do is add a quick connect onto your pressure washer, and then you just pull the collar back, put it on, and you're good to go. All right guys, now let's go ahead and talk about the discrepancies again from the box to the actual unit for the 1800 PSI 1.2 GPM unit. And it's basically the same kind of thing. So as you can see, the whole unit is here, looks good, but if you look at the end of it, it shows a stainless steel quick connect, which again, it does not have, it is brass. Additionally, when we look at the included nozzles, turbo nozzle, and again, that white nozzle, which is a 40-degree nozzle, and instead, we get a 15 and the turbo. Now for a basic walk around of this unit, it is great. I really, really like how compact it is. And they do give you additional nozzle storage. So if you look over here, we have the 2 on that side. You have 2 more over here. We don't have any, but if you did want some, then that's cool that they give it to you. Also, if you look at where the feet are, you could potentially wall mount this thing vertically and just drill it in and you'd be good to go, which is cool. Both of these units, I will say, I really like how they're designed because they're a pass-through unit, meaning the garden hose comes in one side and then the pressure washer hose goes out the other side. So it's all in line so you're not getting all tangled up. So I do like that. As you can see here, one on the front and one on the back. Same thing here, one on the front, one on the back. Now the 1800 PSI unit does use the standard toggle style switch, which it did in the past too, but you have a little light indicator on it, which is nice. The gun itself is actually really, really cool. I like this feature. So the connections are just plastic, sleeved over the material, and these just push in and then turn to go into place. Again, that's a little more robust on the 2100 unit, but the reasoning for this on this unit is if you look at the handle, there's little grips integrated in along with on the extension of the pressure washer gun. So you can actually sit this down slide it, and then it locks into place. Super cool. I actually really, really like that design. I didn't realize it had that, and I really like it. Again, one other thing to note, 35-foot power cord. The pump on this one is external, so you can actually see it here. Now, this is an axial pump, meaning that there's a wobble plate inside that basically spins around and pushes the water through. This one is exposed, this one is not, but this does use the same type of axial pump as well. Both of these are going to be universal motors. You'll hear that in a little bit. Now, universal motors are traditionally, they're cheaper. They're way cheaper. They're also lighter weight. The next step up would be going into induction motors. That's what all the professional pressure washers use on the electric side. And those are heavier, they cost more, but they also last a lot longer and run quieter. And last but not least, guys, let's talk about the hose that comes with the 1800 unit. Let me just get this unwrapped. And this one they call their Superflex hose or something like that. And one of the most important things, I mean, man, Superflex, but look at this. I don't know. Yeah, I would definitely upgrade this one as well. It's fine, it's nice that they include something, but I'm getting all tangled up already. This one does use the M22x14 connection point as well. And if you look at the diameter difference though between these two hoses, the black one is quite a bit thinner, right? That can affect overall performance over time. So basically there's a thing called flow restriction as the water is passing through this hose. Because it's a tighter chamber for it to go through, there's more friction of that water going through there versus something that's a little bit wider. Now let's go ahead and look at the flexibility of this thing. Man, this is crazy. It does seem more flexible than the last one, but I can't even really test it because it keeps coiling up on me. Okay, here we go. All right, see how it's not kinking the same way the other one did? Yeah, definitely not. All right, and we'll get it to roll over on itself. Okay, completely rolled over on itself. Pull it back. And more like my QuiverFlex hose or the UberFlex hose, the memory is releasing. So there's no more kink in it, and it is better. Still a super cumbersome hose, but I do like the flexibility of this one better than this one. All right, so the time has come. Let's actually test these now utilizing the PSI gauge and also a bucket. We're gonna run it in for 1 minute and that'll give us our gallons per minute rating. Again, this one's listed at 2100 PSI, 1.2 GPM. This one is listed at 1800 PSI, 1.2 GPM. So we're gonna use the included accessories to test that. And then we'll switch over to my QuiverFlex hose and we'll test both of them under the same exact setup so that we can see if there's any difference in the actual performance. Really quickly before I do that though, I wanna check the size of the nozzles. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know, 15.0158. So that might be a 1.58 orifice, which would be extremely small and also very, very precise. They don't usually go to the 10th or 100th decimal point. But let's see here. I think in the past, they ran 1.6 or 1.8s on these. Let's see here. This one is, yeah, so they're different. All right, so that gives me an idea. Okay, so on the 1800, it is a 15 degree 1.7, slightly bigger orifice. That's gonna give us a little bit more flow technically, but less PSI. This one, on the other hand, I think is a 1.58, so 0.12 smaller. That's going to, because it's a smaller pinhole, we're gonna get more PSI coming out, but it's gonna reduce our GPM. So we'll see that hopefully in the numbers. The only other caveat to that of why that may be different is because of the diameter of the hoses. But again, we'll find out more once we switch over to a consistent test with the QuiverFlex hose. All right, let's go ahead and start testing. Again, I have this all hooked up, right? We got my PSI gauge. We actually also have an amp meter over here, so we'll be able to test that. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in, start the water, and I'll show you the startup procedure whenever you're using one of these pressure washers. All right, guys, so the startup, we're gonna go ahead and turn the water on. Now you always want to check for any leaks because that can affect the performance. I'm not seeing any, so we are good to go. Now, with no nozzle in it, I'm gonna go ahead and with the unit off, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the trigger. You're gonna see a bunch of air come out. Well, you hear it at least, right? So now we're gonna let it run. We wanna make sure we're not leaving any air bubbles in the system because that could affect performance as well. Okay, everything looks good. We're gonna go ahead and turn it on. And we're gonna let it run for a little bit. Again, allowing any air to get out. Now, if you hear that noise, all that was very standard for a universal motor. The 1800 is probably gonna sound pretty much exactly the same to that. Not overly loud though, so that's good. These typically sit in the 82 to 85 decibel range, but it does have the total stop system, meaning where you pull the trigger, it turns itself on, you release, it turns itself completely off. Let's go ahead and start off with the 15-degree nozzle that is included. Again, this one is a 1.58. So again, the unit is on. I have it all set up here. I have my PSI gauge here. Just the back pressure is currently sitting at about 330 or so. Here is my amp meter. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger on this thing and test the amps. 14, it's gonna climb up a little bit. Now with this, always keep in mind that even if it gets a little bit higher, over time it's gonna start breaking in, the oil is gonna start moving and it's gonna start going down. So we didn't even get above 14.2, so that's good. That means we're not gonna have any issue on a 15 amp breaker, which is what is a safe zone for in your home. Now, more of the professional grade units are gonna be running on a 20 amp breaker, which is, again, most houses have 20 amps as well, but 15 is a nice, easy one. You're for sure gonna be covered with that. Let's go ahead and test the PSI. All right, here we go. $1,800, still climbing. All right, so it looks like we're sitting just about 1,810 PSI. Now, again, just like the amps coming down as this thing warms up, so will the PSI will probably creep up a little bit more, but right now we'll call it 1810. Over time, I bet it'll get to like 1850 or something like that. Still not the 2100. Is that within, let's see here, that's in within almost a 10% variance, which is pretty standard. One of the things to note, guys, is when they rate these things, they're rating it after these machines have warmed up for a few minutes, right? So again, we're gonna get that slight increase. And then also they're testing it at the pump, not at the end of the hose. But we wanna know what the real world usable numbers are, especially when we're comparing this $200 unit to the $100 unit. 1,810 PSI, I think is what it was. So good to know, right? That's accurate. Or those are the accurate numbers. Now, we're gonna go ahead and now stick this nozzle into a bucket and run it for 1 minute. I will weigh out the water so we get an accurate representation of exactly what the real GPM is. Now guys, as this is running, I am inspecting the PSI again here. There we are. We never went above 1815. But again, that's 1 minute in, right? So I think we will get over that, but we're gonna call it, it's safe to say 1,800 PSI. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and weigh this out now, and I'll be right back to let you know exactly how many gallons per minute it is. All right, guys, I am back. Just weighed this out. We are coming in at 1.05 gallons per minute. So again, we're not at the 2100. We're at about 1,800. We're not at the 1.2. We're at 1.05. Again, we could get more, right? If we open up that nozzle more, we'll get more flow for sure, but then we're gonna lose PSI. So it's a balance of things. Just with the 15-degree nozzle that it came with, that's where we're at. Really quickly, I'm not gonna test the GPM with the turbo nozzle, but I will test the PSI. I'm assuming this is actually going to go lower in PSI, but for cleaning ability, guys, this thing is awesome. I'm not gonna do any video of cleaning a sidewalk. These aren't super high power units. You're gonna have to take your time to get everything cleaned up, but this thing will do a great job. You see that? It's spinning around and creating a nice cone shape. Okay, and PSI wise, so we have dropped considerably. We're down to into the 1400s, so we're about 400 PSI less. Still climbing slightly, but again, we are way down. But like I said, the cleaning ability with this one is gonna be fantastic. So I will show you a little bit here, I guess, might as well. Here we go. So there you go, guys. Huge difference, right? Definitely great cleaning power. Again, you just have to work it slower. All right, now next up, let's go ahead and switch over to the 1800 PSI with all the factory components. So we are all set up. Again, this hose, even though it is more flexible, it's like a slinky, like trying to deal with this thing. So anyway, startup procedure is the exact same. We're gonna go ahead and turn the water on, check for any leaks. I don't see any. We're gonna go ahead and pull the trigger over here, release the air, wait for the water to come out. We're gonna go ahead and take, again, just like the last test, the 15-degree nozzle. Again, this one's larger, a 1.7, so I'm not expecting to get as much PSI as we did out of the last one. But let's go ahead and test. We're gonna first look at the amp reading again. All right, guys, so this is the 1800 unit. Here's the amp reading. Oh, we're overamping. We are overamping. So we're at 15.3 right now. Now again, this is gonna come down. Now, yes, we are overamping, right? These things are rated for 15. It's over 15 right now. However, again, I have a lot of experience because I'm developing my own pressure washer. And again, from the testing units of these, like I said, they let them run for a little bit before they actually start testing. Since we're just barely over 15, you know, if it's within a minute or so, it drops under that 15, it's totally fine. They say it's totally safe. That's standard. I'm actually surprised though. It does go to show that these units are different, because if this is truly a 1.7, the other one was a 1.58, then the smaller the orifice would make the amps go up even higher. So let's go ahead and test the PSI with this one, and then I want to grab the nozzle from the 2100 and test it with that as well. So here we go, PSI test. So we're gonna call that 1650 right out of the gate. Again, amps now are at, let me see what it's doing. Still overamping, we're still above 15 right now. This, again, I'm assuming if I go to this other nozzle from the 2100, it's going to overamp even more. It should get more PSI, but it'll probably overamp even more. So let's check that. Again, this is not the factory nozzle, this is the one that comes on the 2100. Yep, we're overamping again quite a bit. Just real quick, let's see. Now the PSI with this nozzle is getting up to exactly what the 2100 got. So they're very similar. However, they are getting different. Again, we're getting similar numbers with the same nozzles, but because of that, on this one, we are overamping versus on the 2100, we did not. Why may that be? That may be because, like I talked about with the axial pump, right? There's a wobble plate inside. Let me show you an example. So this is an example of a wobble plate. If you look here, right here, it's flat and then it's sitting at an angle. The different angles can definitely affect the PSI and then the amp readings and GPM. So do these have different degrees of wobble plates in them? That could definitely be. It could be the same motor and pump, but with a different wobble plate inside. I don't know that for sure. We are getting similar numbers, but again, because it's overamping with this one, you're definitely not going to want to run that small of a nozzle on it. Even the one they give you is overamping right off the bat, so a 2.0 nozzle would probably be the best bet, but again, we're going to run even less PSI. Don't remember what it was running, somewhere around the 1600s with the factory nozzle. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same test, the gallons per minute test. And seems like that is it, 1660 PSI. Again, I'm going to go ahead and test the GPM now. I'll let you guys know exactly where it sits. If we remember well, the 2100 was getting 1.05. All right, now like I suspected, because we opened up that orifice, we did drop the PSI, but the GPM did go up slightly, not significant. We're at 1.09 GPM, so almost 1.1. We're close. Now, in order to do the rest of the testing, again, guys, actually, I'll go ahead and switch the turbo nozzle on here for you and test the PSI with this one. Pretty similar to the other one, we're gonna be around that 1400 PSI mark. We'll show the cleaning ability of it. Again, it's gonna get the job done for sure. It's not the most crazy thing, but it will get the job done. You just gotta have to work everything nice and slow. and then you will get the results that you're looking for. All right, guys, now the final test is we're gonna go ahead and switch over to my Quiver Flex hose, 50 feet, and then we're gonna test it with different size nozzles to see how much GPM we can really get out of this. So if we're looking at around the house, these are fine numbers, right? TBD expected for a price point pressure washer. But we wanna know if we wanna switch over and use them on our cars, we wanna use a lower PSI, higher GPM rate. We'll try and get it around 1,000 PSI and as much GPM as we can get. That's the ideal setup in my personal opinion. So let me get this set up and then we'll get to testing. Okay guys, so we're all set up. I have my prototype of my new pressure washer gun here. Incredible swivel, everything's super, this will be exciting once it comes down. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe because you'll want to see where this thing ends up. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and start off with the next size nozzle that I have. Again, the 1800 PSI is the one we're testing now. It comes with a 1.7. The smallest nozzle I have here is a 2.5. So there's gonna be a significant difference. Now I'm gonna be using a 40-degree nozzle, again, a wider fan, but it's gonna get the same numbers whether it says 0 degree, 15 degree, 25 degree, or 40 degree, at least on the gauge, right? So we're good to go there. Let's go ahead and turn the water back on. Turn the unit back on. All right, so here we go. With the 2.5 nozzle, here we go. 1,000. 1,070, I'm getting sprayed here. Amperage, we're way under now. We're way under that 15 amps. 1,090. 1,091, 92. 1,093 is where we're settling right now. Again, as this breaks in more and more, we'll probably get up to 1,100. Let's go ahead and dump this out and then we'll test the GPM. All right guys, so that is 1 minute into the bucket. Now I was looking at the PSI while I was running that for a minute. We did get up to 1,100 PSI. Let me go ahead and weigh this out. I'll let you know what the GPM is. All right guys, so that took us to 1.3 gallons per minute. So we're getting 1,100 PSI, 1.3 GPM. Let me go ahead and throw on a 3.0 nozzle real quick. All right guys, so to my surprise, it actually increased more than I thought. We're at 1.4 GPM, 860 PSI with the 3.0 orifice nozzle. That's probably what I would recommend if you're gonna be using it for your cars. I'll link those down in the description for you guys. Also, if you are looking for something specifically for your car on a budget, look at the Ryobi Automotive. That gets, oh gosh, I can't remember off the top of my head, but much more, 1.6, 1.7 gallons per minute. At that price point, it's very, very good. Also, the Greenworks Automotive, very, very similar to that, actually a little bit better. All right, guys, now for the final test, we're almost done with this. We're gonna be testing the 2,100 PSI unit using the same 2.5 and 3.0 nozzles to see if we're getting the same numbers. I'm kind of suspecting that we will get at least, if not the exact same numbers, extremely close. I'm just gonna go ahead and let you guys know the numbers so we don't have to do this for too long. Now real quick guys, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the performance of the soap blaster versus a proper foam cannon. We're gonna take the solution that's in here. Okay, we're gonna take 2 ounces, which you really only need 1 ounce of this typically, of my Quiver Rogue. This is a pH neutral foaming soap. Really, really good stuff. Dual surfactant, so it has a ton of cleaning power, crazy slickness. All right guys, so you can see I just did a little test, but here we go. I just was checking to see which way gets the most amount of foam. So I have it turned all the way to the most amount of foam. Here we go. Again, it's not bad. It's actually not bad. Again, I would just prefer more dwell time. You can see that's really, really runny. So we're gonna take this solution now, but we're gonna take that solution now, pour it into this one. Here we go. There you go, look how thick that is. It'll stack up on itself. So if you guys remember, watch the dwell time of that versus the other one that was super runny. And this is nice and thick. I can actually pick it up, it's airy. So again, that's gonna give the dwell time that you want, either when you're working on your car or on the siding of your house or whatever else. So that's why I recommend a real foam cannon versus a soap blaster. All right, guys, so there you have it. Those are the 2 new units from Ryobi available at Home Depot. Which one is the right choice for you? Again, it's a $100 difference between the 1800 and the 2100. If you do want that little bit of extra PSI, the 2100 definitely gets it. We're not getting 2100 PSI, we're getting around the 1800, but we're staying under 15 amps versus the other one at initial ramp up was around 1600, but we're over 15 amps. So you gotta keep that in mind. If you want that extra bit, go with the 2100. Also, the nice features of the telescoping handle, the wheels, all that kind of good stuff is definitely a benefit. Both of these units, I do recommend upgrading your hoses and things like that regardless. But that is it for today's video, guys. I hope that video helps you. Please make sure to like the video, make sure you're subscribed, turn on the notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one.